You're listening to the Wheatgrass and Champagne podcast with holistic entrepreneurs Mandy Rose and Kathleen Hupp. Tune in each Wednesday to discuss holistic approaches to a happier, more fulfilling life and glittery distractions from the mundane. Nothing is off limits in this series, so grab your glass of champagne or your shot of wheatgrass and prepare for complete and fabulous chaos.
Hi guys, welcome back to Wheatgrass and Champagne.
Hey, thanks for tuning in again.
Today's episode is right up my alley. You guys know how open I am about my history with Botox and down the path of destruction it caused in my gut. So I'm really excited for today's episode because I learned so much from Vanessa. So you guys are going to absolutely love it.
Yeah, so in a time when women are taught to start taking preventative Botox in their mid-20s, when everyone is injecting their lips and cheekbones with fillers, Vanessa takes a hard look at how we can source that from the earth and create our beauty naturally, holistically, and in a very gentle, loving way. So she is so knowledgeable on the subject. She's been actually instructing Pilates for 15 years now. And in the past few years, she dabbled into herbalism. She's gotten really deep into that, and she is just a guru. She now also has a line of beauty products and serums, and basically you can get the same results that you would get from Botox, but you get them beautifully, naturally, and very gently.
Yes. And I learned so much, about the lymphatic system in the face. She talks a lot about, the self-care practices and what's the difference, instead of hating your skin, how we can love our skin and show it devotion every day. That was an amazing word that she used. So I'm really excited for you guys to listen to her and get all of her knowledge. And we could probably talk to her for 8 more episodes. So if you absolutely love it, we're going to have her back, talk about more topics. So if there's anything at the end of the episode that you want more information on, there is a way to get in touch with her, but also drop us a line at Wheatgrass and Champagne and let us know what other topics and more info we can pick her brain on.
Yes, and we'll have lots of helpful information linked to this episode. So we'll have links to that in the show notes below. We'll link to Vanessa's page, to our page, and there will be an abundance of info to follow up. So make sure you tune in to all the sources and enjoy the interview.
Enjoy.
Hey, Vanessa, thanks for joining us today.
Thank you for having me.
Of course.
We have been hanging out with Vanessa for the last hour, and you guys, it's been magical. We got to do these most amazing face masks, and I hope she will share her recipe later. So you'll have to stay tuned in the episode for that. And now we are drinking this magical herbal tea that is making me feel all sorts of relaxed. How are you feeling?
Vanessa made everything. She is an herbalist to the max, and she made the tea, she made the face mask, she made the serum. And so our faces feel like solid gold.
Oh yeah,
you girls are glowing
over
baby
here.
Soft.
You're glowing. I'm not gonna lie.
I feel it.
You look amazing.
La radiant.
So now we just have to redo this like tomorrow morning, so I can go to work looking like this.
Absolutely.
My husband's gonna be like, "Where did you just come back from? You are glowing."
It's a podcast. I swear.
I swear, call Kathleen. That's where
He's
I was.
like, normally you look really tired after those. What changed tonight?
Andrew, if you're listening, I'm sitting right here. This is what happened.
So, Vanessa, do you want to tell us a little bit about how you got into herbalism and skincare and all that? And I know you started with Pilates teaching.
Yes, I've been a Pilates instructor I passed my 15-year mark in April.
Ooh.
I passed my 20,000 hour mark like sometime last year.
Wow.
But at a young age, my early 20s, I took my Pilates experience and education and I moved to Johannesburg, South Africa. And I was enamored by the fact that traditional medicine is so common within the country. Herbalism, as we would call it, or the use of herbs, is not something that is outside of the general reality. If you go to what is the equivalent of CVS, there's, the Advil aisle, the Band-Aid aisle, the vitamins and supplements, and then boxes of herbs. It blew my mind. I was so intrigued and fascinated by this. So this is when I first began visiting. And then when I did finally move there, which was in 2008, there was a road trip that I went on with my then partner, and we got lost in the mountains. So we're in the mountains. It's in this region that's very tropical. So you can imagine just miles of hillsides and mountainsides, all different kinds of tropical fruits. It's known for its baboons, so you have to be careful when you're driving that you don't hit a baboon running across the road.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Wild.
Yes.
Wild.
Very, just an incredible experience. And we were lost, and we came upon on a mountainside this hut. And in this hut were piles of herbs, each with their name. And the currency there is called the rand. And, 15 rand, 20 rand, just the name of the herb, and piled up. Some of them were in boxes, some weren't. So I'm so excited. This is so fascinating. I want to buy all of these things, and I have no clue what they are.
You had no idea.
No clue.
They were just called to you.
Yes. And so I thought, I'll buy them and I'm going to look them up and then I'll use them. So we're honking our horn. This is at the bottom of clearly someone's property. We're honking. No one comes out. Maybe they were farmers and they were off on their land. So being the honest person that I am, I added up what I had taken and I left cash, sort of underneath the little notepad that they had. So I get in the car and my boyfriend is laughing at me and I'm so excited to go home and study these herbs. So if I think about a definitive moment that made me want to expand my knowledge of the body, it was that.
Yeah.
So fast forward 10 years later, I'm back in the United States. I'm now a single mother, and I had been meeting with girlfriends once a month, and we were making herbal magic together. We would make skin balms, tinctures, oils, masks. Some things were, definitely had a medicinal application, and some were a bit more esoteric. And we heard that a very revered educator about an hour from here was beginning a year-long immersive herbalism apprenticeship. And so 3 out of the 5 of us that met monthly decided to undertake this herbalism apprenticeship.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it was exhaustive and exhausting and very intensive. And what was interesting about it was that we were taught not just the widely known herbs that are commonly used in Ayurvedic medicine, in Western herbalism, and Chinese herbalism, Chinese medicine, but also Florida-specific native plants.
Cool.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So when I walk outside, what people look at in their yard and see, I've got to spray those weeds. I know what its medicinal applications are. And I mean, it is such a gift. I'm so grateful that I did that when I did. Mm-hmm. I was going through a divorce at the time, and it let me throw myself into something with such passion. And that passion has snowballed into what I am now doing.
I love that. So I have a question about the herbalism, career path. Is it something that you're always learning? You're just always learning, right?
Yes.
You're never done. Is that exciting?
Absolutely. It's exciting. It is inspiring. It teaches you, to learn something from a book. You pick up a book and you read it in the book and you read, well, this herb does this, 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 and this, and this. But to take that seed, plant it, watch it grow into a seedling, watch it form fully into the plant and then flower, and then go to seed and take those seeds and plant those again. You begin to have a relationship with the plants. When I first heard women say that, I must say I rolled my eyes.
You're like,
I did. I'm like, come on.
This yoo-hoo.
Come on. We're getting a little woo-woo here. But you truly do begin to form a relationship and an understanding, and you start to have plants that you really grow toward or drawn toward, bond with, and then bond with you. And I definitely have my plants that I am closest with and understand more than others.
Love that.
And your body probably reacts more to those than to others.
Absolutely. And so you cannot use, so we covered 190 herbs, I believe, but you cannot use all of them in your herbalism practice, whatever it is so you will end up typically using between 20 and 30 that speak most to you, that you understand and that you can work with as you practice. Herbalism is unregulated in the state of Florida, and it is also not recognized as a medicinal choice from you as a consumer. So in practicing, you cannot make any medical claims whatsoever. You have to be very cognizant so that you're not misleading the consumer.
And that makes sense.
Yeah. So my focus is entirely on the beauty.
Which I love that. Every time we hear of like herbs and stuff, we always think of just drinking them. Or I think a lot of people think of herbs in the same category as nutrition. And that's not necessarily the case because there's so many different ways to take and use herbs. So can you talk a little bit about that?
Sure. So the way that I see it is that it is all nutrition. It's all feeding the body. It's just through different routes. So you can feed the skin. You can feed your body internally. You can feed your body externally. So yes, typically people think, oh, I'll take a dried herb or I'll take a tincture but the way that I see it is that by incorporating herbs into our day-to-day life through medicinal beauty applications, through tea infusions, which are like gently, slowly, softly feeding, changing, nourishing the body, it becomes less of instead of taking an Advil, I'm going to take an herb, and more of a daily practice, a self-care practice that feeds into your whole life, into your day-to-day life.
I love that. And so I think that's really where beauty comes in when you talk about that self-care, like using the herbs to give yourself a lot of love.
Absolutely. And by thinking of herbalism as an act of devotion to your body, one, I like that. I'm a little bit of a rebel. So the word discipline, even when it's my own, I'll say, well, I don't want to do that.
That doesn't sound fun at all.
That doesn't sound fun, even though I said I was going to do it for myself. But the word devotion, I love the word devotion versus discipline.
Oh my gosh, yes.
So that's how I am all about. I'm a double Taurus, if you are familiar with
slightly
astrology. So my sign I was born under is a Taurus. My rising sign is Taurus. And then my moon is in Capricorn. I'm a triple earth sign. I like to feel good. I like things to be pretty. I am not a sufferer. Some people are. All for me. I mean, rock out. That's all you.
Yeah.
But for me, I like to make people feel good. In my Pilates practice, I like them to leave glowing, energized, challenged, but feeling good. And the herbalism has simply been an expansion and an addition to that. Before I could see a person and I could look at you, Kathleen, and think, I know what your connective tissue is doing. I know what your muscles are doing right now. And I know how to change them gradually, slowly, in a way that is lasting.
Right.
Same for you, Mandy. So now I have this whole library, this encyclopedia of herbal knowledge that I can go inside and add to the health and the longevity of your being.
Yeah, you have the muscle knowledge and all the connective tissues and inside the body, and then all the herbs that those muscles need.
Which makes you like the perfect person to talk about this topic.
I love it. I love it. And I can talk about it for hours. So you'll have to rein me in.
So you actually have products and remedies that you would compare results to maybe results from Botox. Like Botox is obviously the quick fix and, maybe a little bit harmful to your body to get rid of fine lines and wrinkles and maybe sagging skin. But you actually have the Earth Mama remedy to those problems, right?
Yes, absolutely. But I think it's important to differentiate what the two objectives are. So let's talk about Botox.
Yeah.
What is it? It is a toxin that through a needle is injected into the muscle, which essentially paralyzes the muscle. It deadens the ability of the neurotransmitter to communicate to the muscle to contract. So, if you squint your eyes really now while you're listening, or you furrow your brow, that musculature, you thought it, your brain sent a signal to the neurotransmitter to the muscle contracted. You stopped furrowing, the muscle stopped contracting. It relaxed. What happens with Botox is that the muscle is paralyzed. It can no longer do that. And the goal is to stop the repetitious contraction of the muscle, which then makes the surface of the skin, the connective tissue, and then the skin have patterns of wrinkling, which increase as we age. My answer to that is to feed the skin with herbs, whole plant medicinal herbs that pass the first layer of the skin, the tightly packed protective layer, go through the multiple layers of the skin and feed the bloodstream, coupled with consumption of daily infusions of herbs, tea, and self-massage techniques that naturally plump, fill, and create the effect that women are seeking with Botox.
Yes, that's some of the moves we just did. You showed us like how to hold your hand like a claw and massage your jawline and your cheekbones and your forehead. And Mandy and I looked at each other after doing just one half of our face, and we were like, oh my gosh, half your face is glowing. The other half is like, I never noticed, but not glowing.
You kind of had like one of our
such
cheeks, like after we got done, the one like cheek looked like it was like full and it was plump, like there was fillers in it.
Yes.
And then the other side was like kind of just like, like it was needing some self-love.
Yes.
So,
Yes.
I know, it was just maybe 5-10 minutes of your remedies, and
we noticed
were
it
just
instantly.
like blown away by the results.
So I like that you kind of mentioned with the Botox, like the goal is just to get rid of the wrinkles. Like that's really the only reason people did it. It's the only reason I did it. And I actually, when I did it, and I'm really open about it, is I didn't have any wrinkles, but everyone was telling me to do it before you get the wrinkles. Like my skin is very glowy. I eat so clean. I eat so healthy. Like I'm not. I'm the kind of person that someone's like, you got Botox? Like it must be magical.
Yeah.
You have a single wrinkle. I didn't. I did it like for prevention of. So I love what you were saying is kind of like, that's all people are thinking of when they get it. It's just like wrinkle, 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 like get rid of it.
When it's for cosmetic purposes, yes. Now I will say Botox is used for serious medical conditions.
Right.
So I'm not going to comment on that. I'm not a doctor. But with regards to cosmetic application, fundamentally what you are doing is you are paralyzing the muscle. So let's go a little deeper into that. If you're paralyzing the muscle, what's happening to the surrounding systems that muscle affects? So we're going to talk about a fluid in our body called lymph. Lymph fluid. Think about your heart. Put your hand on your heart and take a big breath in. And a long breath out. And you can feel your heart pump, right? Your blood is pumped by your heart. Your lymph has no pump. What moves lymph through your body would be muscular movement and joint movement.
And what's the purpose of our lymph system?
It is part of the immunity. So I don't want to get too heavy into the science because I would rather teach it with diagrams because listeners will check out.
I always say it's like the garbage men.
Yeah.
Like it's the garbage men. And if the garbage men go on vacation.
Of the heavier, of the heavier junk. And so the nodes are then the filters of that junk.
So it's important, very important, the lymph system.
If you do not have lymph flow, you are in a very, very compromised state of immunity.
It's like leaving the trash on the curb and the garbage men went on vacation and didn't come back for like a month. That's how stinky.
Exactly.
Your body would be.
On the inside, it is not a good scene. So let's think of it. I love to use earth-based illustrations or analogies. Let's think of our lymph as a river system.
Okay.
So a system of rivers throughout the body. You want those rivers flowing, moving, steadily, constantly generating. So you want those rivers. Think of your lymphatic system as a system of rivers. Have you ever looked at a map of areas of the United States that are full of waterways? Your lymphatic system is like the detoxifying. I'm hesitant to use that word because I don't like to think of the body as dirty. It is not. But it is the cleansing system. It is moving waste. It is filtering waste. And if that filtration system is stopped, it is dammed up, Botox. You are decreasing the flow of that river. So, all right, you are 40 years old. You smoked through your 20s. You quit smoking in your 30s when you had kids. You eat a standard American diet, try to eat organic. You do your best to drink enough water, maybe a glass or two of wine a night. And now you're hitting your 40s and you're noticing, wow, I'm getting these wrinkles on my forehead. I'm getting these wrinkles between my eyebrows. My kids are driving me crazy. Oh, I'm getting wrinkles along the side of my mouth. What do? You go to an esthetician who is licensed to do medical injections. And wow, I can smooth those out right here today. We'll just put a little Botox in.
No big deal.
No big deal. But right now we're being like 3D detectives of our body. Go underneath that. The flow of lymph is then stagnated in the face. So the skin tone, because lymph is being pumped and moved in a muscle that's contracting and releasing, the skin tone is then going to decrease. The feeding system to the health of the skin, the vitality of the skin is being decreased. So now, oh my gosh, 3 months later, your Botox wears off. Your skin looks worse than it did last time. So you get more Botox, and this time perhaps further through other parts of the musculature. And it is a vicious cycle because the elasticity of the skin, because it is not being fed from inside, then begins to decrease further. And so then fillers are introduced. And fillers are typically a substance called hyaluronic acid. It is water soluble. So you get the filler, you drink a lot of water, cheeks are plump, elasticity's gone down in the face, but it also can bioaccumulate, which means that it fills, it gets heavy, and it starts to sag.
Yep,
I'm pulling on my cheeks right now, listeners.
Cannot see this.
So I know that it might not seem like that big of a deal, but I have girlfriends that are my age and they're filling so heavily already, and they're Botoxing their top lips, they're Botoxing around the sides of their forehead to lift their eyes. And what they don't realize is that there is another way. You can move lymph. The river underneath the face can be moved and fed and nourished inside and outside with whole organic plant medicines. We're going to age, ladies, but we can do so gracefully without injecting a neurotoxin into our face that
and deadening everything
and putting to sleep our musculature. I want to see emotion in the women in front of me. When a person is speaking of a subject they're passionate about, I want to see the full expanse of that emotion play through their face. And in my clientele who are Botoxing quite heavily, a great deal of that emotion isn't expressed because it has been deadened in the muscle that communicates that emotion.
I think that's why you can like look at someone and be like, oh, they got Botox. Like it's
we don't want to shame them.
And
it's not, I don't want someone to feel shamed. If you're listening and you have Botox to your face, I fully understand why you would want to.
Yeah. And it's like, I did it and I have like no shame about it. It was my decision. I openly admit it. It is what it is. I learned my own experience, but I feel like, when you're looking at someone who's had Botox, and it was the same way when people would look at me, I would be like, well, they're not seeing my wrinkles, but they're also not seeing my emotion.
No.
And so that can cause issues when you're trying to communicate with people because they're like, they don't know if you're happy. They don't know if you're sad. Like, they don't know if you're mad. Like, I'm trying to like express myself and someone's all confused
they
because
don't know
they
if you're
can't
being
read
genuine.
Me. Yeah. And, although I only did it a few times, it was like, no, I'm happy. Like, I am happy.
I'm okay. I'm
like,
not mad.
But but someone's like, what's wrong? And I'm like, nothing.
Yeah.
Like, stop saying that, because it was new for him to look at me and not notice my smile lines anymore because I did the crow's feet.
Wow.
So I would smile and my cheeks wouldn't move, right? And so he was looking for my little tiny lines by my eyes because, a husband wants to see his wife happy. And
of course.
I'm smiling, but like don't have any signs of it. He's like, what the hell?
What's happening?
Yeah.
So what starts to happen is if you think about, I'll give you a really interesting example. If you touch, so go to where your collarbones are, all right? And if you touch the muscles above those thick, strong, ropey muscles, in a person who is paralyzed, from the waist down, where their diaphragm, the muscle of breath, is also paralyzed, those muscles take over for respiration.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Wow.
Isn't that fascinating?
Yes.
So when you deaden a muscle in your face, another muscle is going to take over and do that heavy lifting. Our body is very efficient at keeping itself running. So what you'll begin to see, for example, I'm not going to name the muscle by its Latin name because it's unnecessary, but right between the eyebrows and around the forehead, when that is Botox to get rid of those two little, they call them 11 lines between the eyebrows, the muscle above the nostrils and on the bridge of the nose begins to overwork. You'll notice when someone laughs, their nose will wrinkle up quite hard because it's working so hard to do what the muscle between the brow and at the forehead would have previously done for them. So you begin to overtax another muscle group. It's a vicious cycle.
Yeah.
So to close the loop of what we're discussing, there is another way. You can feed and nourish and beautify your face without putting it to sleep, without deadening it.
So someone like me who's had Botox done a couple times, and then I'm like, you know what, I'm not going to do it again. And I let it wear off. And now like I'm having some sagging and I'm noticing my skin like, worse than when I started.
Okay.
There's a way to come back from that, right?
Absolutely.
Absolutely. Okay, good.
And
so, because I want people to know that just because you started doesn't mean you have to keep doing it. You can, our bodies are amazing at repairing.
They are.
Yeah.
They are. And there's an incredible degree of grace.
They're very forgiving.
The human body.
Yes.
Yeah.
Much like there is an incredible degree of grace on the earth, you can destroy soil with herbicides and pesticides, and you can leave the soil to itself, much like you would a fast in the human body, and the soil will begin to repopulate with healthy bacteria, to begin to grow quote unquote weeds, to begin to strengthen. And our skin, our gut health, our bodies have this amazing ability to repair, to heal. And then in the process of doing that, so I can imagine a listener who Botoxes their face going, look, that sounds all well and good, but I'm not going to let my face fall apart while I'm waiting for this healing process to begin.
Yeah, of course.
So what I teach is a methodology of self-massage to get the lymph moving. So it's moving that river underneath, which fills, plumps, and nourishes the skin. So those lines that were deadened can be filled naturally with oil-based serum on top and herbal infusions, whole plant medicine taken internally. You're approaching it, you're feeding it from both angles, outside and inside. And what starts to happen is women begin to glow. I have women in their 60s and their 70s. One in particular, she's an incredible, adventurous woman. She's in her 70s, and she travels often throughout Africa and photographs remote tribes. She's done this for as long as I've known her. She was my neighbor in Johannesburg. She is a big fan, a very devoted customer of my oil serum. And she's someone who, throughout her life, would wash her face with soap every single night and go to bed.
Oh, no.
Next day. Next day, start back over. A little bit of mascara on, or, maybe a little bit of tinted moisturizer. Wash your face with soap, done. And the difference in her skin has been absolutely incredible. People started asking her if she had a mini facelift.
Oh, wow.
Or if she was Botoxing, or if she was filling, because her skin was being nourished. The protective lipid or fat soluble layer, the sealant on the top layer of the skin, was being fed. And then these beautiful plant constituents that pass that layer and go into the bloodstream and begin to actually change the skin on the deeper cellular level. That was happening. And that woman alone has brought me so many incredible, devoted customers.
I bet. With results like that.
Oh, yeah. She's incredible.
Yeah.
And she'll probably be listening, so she knows who she is.
Hey, girl.
Thank you. But go ahead.
If someone is currently getting Botox and they're listening to this episode and they really want to try your method with herbs and certain types of massage and oils, can they do both? Will they work hand in hand, or do they kind of interfere with each other's results?
Well, okay. So filler and Botox are injected. They are meant to stay where they're put. What I am creating, what I have created, what I am proposing is a bringing to life of the body, a bringing to life of the face, a bringing to life of the skin. And that is diametrically opposed to the objective of Botox. So that's a great question, Kathleen. If you have Botox, you can absolutely begin to use oil-based serums to feed your skin, but you mustn't use the self-massage techniques over the areas where you have filled or Botox, because you are going to move that filler. You're going to move that Botox, and it is meant to stay, to put to sleep, to deaden the area and fill, if you're using filler, the space where it's injected into.
That's interesting. So the Botox itself can kind of move throughout the muscles if you move it through massage.
Yes.
That is interesting.
Yes.
Okay.
So go ahead.
If you've had Botox like me, you probably shouldn't use a jade roller then, right? Because that's what I did.
Did it move for
What
you?
happened?
Well, then my health fell apart. So if that
Really?
bacteria maybe got moved, I don't know. But I never thought of it. Like,
Did you test for botulism?
yeah. So,
No way.
So what happened is I got Botox a couple times, like I said, and then this last time I got it in July, and then a month later I got into jade rolling and gua shaing. I was like, oh my gosh, duh! Like I want less wrinkles than ever, so I bought this jade roller and I just went to town. Right? I'm like doing it under my
rolling away.
eyes. I'm doing it on my forehead. I'm just going to town, and then like I said, like 3 months later, my total gut health fell apart. And I know that the botulism bacteria in Botox can ruin your gut. But why did it happen that last time and not the other times I did it?
You
And
were
now
jade rolling and using
I
gua sha.
think that's like the only thing now from our conversation that like light bulbs are going off. I'm like,
Incredible. So
That is wild.
I can't comment on that responsibly
Right.
because I have never seen any medical studies
Yeah.
that show that the botulism, the Botox can move
Right.
from the muscle to the gut. But that is fascinating.
I know.
That is really
And my
interesting.
holistic doctor like tested me for the botulism bacteria, and it was like overgrown. And so it, yeah, probably definitely moved. So
Wow.
if you're listening, do not, I recommend from
No.
personal experience, if you put it in there, let it be there until it wears off naturally. Don't
Yes.
start moving it around and doing all these things.
No, you want it to
'cause-
stay where you put it.
Yeah.
You want it to stay where
That
you
makes
put it.
total
for sure.
sense now that we
So
talk
if
about
you
it.
have Botox and you are listening, what you would do is you would drink your herbal infusions. You would apply your oil-based serums, and then you would, assuming you haven't Botoxed your neck, you would use the massage techniques on the neck alone. Because think what I want you to think about is your face is like a flower. If you've ever had a flower and accidentally bent the stem, what happens to the flower?
It dies so fast.
I know, it wilts. It's very unfortunate.
Oh.
So your neck is like the stem that feeds the flower of your face. So
Oh, that's
so much
beautiful.
sense.
I like that.
It makes so much sense.
So by moving the lymph through and around the neck, you dramatically feed and nourish the face. Lymph only moves one way,
Okay.
which is up. In the face, it's going up and then back down, filtered through and back through it goes.
Okay.
So by working your neck, if I have no time, like I said, I'm a single mommy and I have 2 businesses. I at least self-massage or gua sha after applying my serum to my neck. So I go along the back of the neck. I go along the sides to the main drainage points of lymph, and I go underneath my ear pits. So the technique we're going to use will be a drainage based. There are techniques you can use for lifting, for tension relief, so many incredible, very simple applications. My idea is that we shouldn't have to wait to go to a facialist I don't know about the two of you, but it's not within my budget to be able to go and get a facial every
Mine
2 weeks or even once a month.
Who's got time?
Who's got time?
Yeah.
But to be able to lovingly care for your skin for 5 to 10 minutes every single day, it becomes this routine, and you become so intimately connected to your face. Your face will begin to tell you so much about what you've eaten, who you've been around, environmental toxins that you're exposed to. I want my customers to become detectives and best friends with their skin, so that you have this understanding that doesn't leave you leaning on someone else. You know your skin, you know your face, and you also know what herbs, what oils, what serums work best for you.
Yeah.
That's amazing, because I think oftentimes when our skin isn't looking great, we have wrinkles and pimples and eczema and psoriasis and rosacea and all the things that come along with, poor skin health. We start to almost hate our skin.
Yes.
We start to have this like loathing, like we just can't figure it out and we don't know what's wrong. So I love that you kind of help someone go from that mindset to loving their skin and giving it that devotion, like
Listening
you said.
to it.
And then you can have this really peaceful relationship with it. So
Yeah,
that's
and
really important. And
intuitive
that's very
knowledge.
unique. There are not many people out there that do that. So
Thank
And
you.
it's very calm treatments to the face, not like abrasive, like proactive or a facial peel or things like
scrubbing,
that.
exfoliating, treating your skin like it's dirty. Ladies, your skin is not dirty. It isn't. Usually it's just trying to tell you, hey, I did not like that thing you fed me. Hey, I need more sleep. Yo, less wine, darling.
Yeah, a
I
little
don't
more
care if
water.
there are antioxidants in it.
Face can only handle so much.
Exactly. So we get to have this beautiful, intimate conversation with our skin, and in turn, the rest of our body, that can make you, one, immune to a lot of BS in the greenwashing of the beauty industry. By greenwashing, I mean saying something is healthy, slapping an organic label on it, but it not actually doing what it says. And what I'm proposing versus, say, an organic skin cream that has no scent, no color, no life to it. Yes, it's organic, but it's been so chemically extracted and isolated. You're not getting the whole plant. You're getting a chemical extraction and an isolation, and then a bleaching and a stripping down of its scent. I use whole plants. My products are handmade. I don't want to sound like I'm plugging my stuff, because there are many.
please do, because they're amazing.
Thank
you
you.
guys. The
world
My
needs
skin
these.
does not glow like this from anything else I've tried. So
you.
everyone needs to get their hand on some goodie that you make.
There are many incredible herbalists that are making amazing skincare out there right now. There's a wave coming that is so cool and
It
really
is so
inspiring.
welcome.
So
Yeah.
question on that.
Yes.
So a lot of times when you are sold a skincare product, and as an esthetician too, this is something I've been taught ever since I went to school for skin and hair, is you have to use something consistently over time to notice a difference. But I feel like with what you did for us today, I noticed immediately. So is that like you should notice a difference of your skin when you're using a product fairly quickly?
That's a really great question. And the answer is complicated. Oftentimes, what a person will find when they begin to use whole plant-based medicine on their skin is that if they had some stuff that is stagnant, as it moves through, they might temporarily break out for a week or two as their body is pushing that stuff out.
Yes.
And then after that week or two, the glow, the effortless, the wake up in the morning and go, wow, I really don't need to put my foundation on. I'll put on a little bit of natural non-toxic sunscreen. And after my serum and maybe a little mascara, and I'm good to go. But to answer your question, you noticed a difference because the two of you have a fairly healthy lifestyle. So for someone who is not at the point of self-care, organic self-care being a regular part of their routine. If they're at more of the beginning of their journey, they will notice a detoxification process on their skin. And then as they come out the other side, they'll notice a health and a glow to their skin that perhaps they've not seen since childhood.
Perfect. I'm so glad you said that and brought that up, because a lot of times people will try something. And Kathleen and I talk about it like when it comes to even detoxing the body and doing cleanses.
Yeah.
And detox reactions, sometimes it gets worse before it gets better.
Well, because you're moving things out that were stuck. So they've got to, have you ever started to clean out a closet and suddenly it looks way worse than when you
look
started?
at the bedroom and it's like
that
a
analogy.
Exactly. The old, you remember the Marie Kondo thing?
Yes.
Sparking Joy?
Yes.
Yeah,
The house was a nightmare
everything
for a
out.
month.
Yeah.
Oh, it was bad.
Did you do your entire house?
3 times.
I love it.
Thorough. Well done.
But yeah, you're so right. Like sometimes people put something on their skin and be like, oh no, it's making it worse. And then they just quit. Right?
Yeah.
So I love.
The way out is through. You have to get you have to get that fluidity. So if you've got junk in a river that's been clogged, the junk has to move through and flow out and be filtered.
Right.
But once the river is done flowing, it becomes clear, crystalline, drinkable again. And that's what you want to do for your face.
Yeah.
So that's probably why it's good to work with someone like you one-on-one or get like a personalized recommendation, because from a consumer perspective and even sometimes a personal, like even though I have a lot of knowledge on it, I think sometimes you can't really be your own best advocate in that sense. So like what I'm trying to say is that sometimes when you're trying a new product for your skin, you don't know if it's making it worse or if it's just part of the process. So I think working with someone like you, that can be very like individualized.
Guided, educated.
Yeah. So it's like, this is your skin. This is why we're doing it this way. And this is how it's going to look.
Okay, so if you were to tell all of our listeners right now, like here is a 5-minute routine to do daily, what would that look like?
Dry brushing, hot shower, cold shower to finish if you can stand it.
Yes.
I'm a big fan of the Wim Hof
Very healthy.
method. Get your body cold, and then warm water or hydrosol, again on the skin, and then apply your serum.
Perfect.
Apply
I
your
think I
serum.
can do that. I think
Yeah.
that's an easy self-care routine.
And you
That
know
is
what?
so easy.
Listen,
And
sometimes I wake up in the morning, I'm in a big hurry. Or it's nighttime, I am exhausted. I do not have time. I keep my serum next to my bed, and I at least apply my serum before I go to sleep.
oh, that's a beautiful way to put yourself to sleep too.
Yeah.
You're just like, a little massage.
They can find that on my Instagram page. It is at Guinevere Beauty, Guinevere. It's the old English spelling.
I love that.
Guinevere.
And Guinevere is my daughter's name, so I named it after my daughter.
Beautiful. And if any of our listeners want to work with you or know more about you, how can they find you?
They can find me via the website, which is guineverebeauty.com.
Okay.
And Instagram, I'm very active on, so they're welcome to private message me on Instagram on either account, my personal account, my which I incorporate me in my garden, me teaching Pilates, my day-to-day life, and how I like to incorporate my healthy habits into. I like things to be real. I like them to be accessible. I'm very much 80-20. 80% good, 20% naughty. Much like
That's our
wheatgrass.
philosophy.
You gotta have both.
Wheatgrass and champagne.
I definitely support that. I run barefoot. I am a big proponent on the feet on the earth, grounding as it's now being called.
Yep.
But just being a raw, wild, real human. But you'll also see me in a pair of Louboutins, and that's okay.
That is
Just not all the
okay.
time.
Yeah,
It's just
it's
not
okay.
all the time.
Gotta have both.
And we'll link her Instagram too in the show notes and her website. So
Yeah,
you guys can
so
find
for-
it really easy.
Thank you. Thank you.
Can we have 8 more episodes on this topic?
All right.
I will gladly come back. It has been an absolute pleasure talking with the two of you and making you more beautiful tonight. You're
Thank
both
you.
glowing. I love
Thank
it.
you for the glow.
Thank you
You're
so
very
much. I
welcome.
feel like we definitely got to teach a lot and really kind of educate on the importance of kind of nourishing yourself. And we don't need to always go that synthetic route.
No, Mama Earth has your back.
Yeah,
Use what
she
she gives you.
does.
Use what she gives you, and it is simple. I need simplicity. I can't have a 20-step process, or I'm not going to do it. I'm sorry.
I'm the same way.
Are you?
And I don't want to spend a lot either.
No.
I'm like, I want natural things. I usually want to make it myself so I know exactly what's in it.
Yes.
But your products, oh my goodness. I mean, you pick some of the flowers and plants that go into your products. You hand pick and hand dry, right?
I do. Yes.
Oh my goodness. I think
and
that's
everything
amazing.
is made by hand. Every single bottle is made by me.
Yeah. I think it's amazing.
From the growing of the plants, I have relationships with the farmers that grow my flowers, that grow my herbs, of the ones that I don't grow myself, because some don't grow in Florida. It's hot here, ladies. A lot of things.
And we're growing in sand.
Correct. But I have traveled throughout the United States as close to our area as I can so that I can purchase directly from farmers. It's more expensive, but I am supporting completely what I believe in. And then imbuing that through what my hands touch, what my hands create. And there is one little last bit of magic that I add to every single bottle, which there is a drop of alchemical gold made by an alchemist in Nevada who chooses to remain anonymous.
Ooh.
And the CBD oil that is also in my beauty serum is made by his father.
Oh, that's amazing.
They are father-son alchemists that are members of the International Alchemy Guild that is thousands of years old.
A drop of gold in every bottle.
A drop of gold in every bottle.
Well, oh my goodness. If that isn't the gold star treatment for your face, I don't know what is.
I love it. It raises the vibrational resonance of all of the plants. So the subtle energy body of the plants. It's like a ding, a tuning fork to bring everything up. Yeah.
Beautiful.
That's how I finish every bottle. And then it's sealed, packaged up, and delivered or sent off all over the world.
I love it.
I have customers that have throughout Europe, London, South Africa, and the continental United States right now.
Wow, good for you.
Purely word of mouth. I'm naughty about social media. I've got to get a little bit more active, but purely word of mouth, and I love it.
That's awesome.
So thank you for letting me share my passion and talk about it.
Yes,
and
thank you for
giving me
so
your
much
faces
knowledge
tonight.
I know, our little guinea pig faces.
Beautiful.
My glowing beauties.
Yes.
Thank you.
This was so informative. Thank you so much for joining us.
It's an absolute pleasure.
All right, guys, thank you so much for tuning in. And don't forget, whether you're cleansing or celebrating, cheers!
Thank you for listening to the Wheatgrass and Champagne podcast. If you loved today's episode, make sure to subscribe and leave a 5-star review. Join the Wheatgrass and Champagne community on Instagram, Facebook, and wheatgrassandchampagne.com. Details from this episode can be found in the show notes below. Tune in next Wednesday as we continue to seek the perfect balance between indulging and upgrading. Until then, cheers.